I'm Daniela. Welcome back to another episode of For the Love of Cinnamon. Today we will prepare lamb curry with Ceylon cinnamon. We hope you enjoy it. Okay, let's go over the ingredients that we need for today's recipe. I know it looks like a lot of them, but please don't be intimidated. I'm pretty sure that by now you're familiar with most of them. So we have here about a pound and a half of lamb. Then we have a diced onion. We have 2 tablespoons of minced garlic, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 2 teaspoons of black pepper. We have 2 green chilies that we've cut up in big pieces, and we've removed the seeds. The seeds tend to be a little too spicy for the dish and it might overpower it. We also have a cup of water, a can of coconut milk, about 15 leaves, curry leaves, 8 cardamoms and 8 cloves that we will crush later for the flavor. Obviously your main ingredient that you want to have for this dish is your Ceylon cinnamon stick. Then we also have half a teaspoon of turmeric, 1 teaspoon of fenugreek seed, about 2 teaspoons of coriander, ground coriander, 2 teaspoons of minced ginger. We have 1 teaspoon of vinegar, and last but not least, one of the most important ingredients in this dish is a tablespoon of curry powder, and that is Sri Lankan curry powder. Okay, now that we went over the ingredients, we can start cooking. So the first step that we have to do is marinate the lamb meat. So keep in mind, this is a recipe that might take a little bit longer. You need to marinate the lamb meat anywhere between 30 to 60 minutes. So just keep that in mind when you decide to do your dish. Make sure that you have plenty of time before dinner. So we have the lamb here, and we'll add the pepper, the chili powder, the curry, turmeric, and the coriander. We'll mix them well. Make sure it's well coated. And as I mentioned, we have to let it marinate for 30 to 60 minutes. It all depends on how long you have, how much time you have on hand. So we'll start our recipe by heating a little bit of oil in a pan, and once that's hot enough, we'll add the garlic and the ginger and the fenugreek seeds and stir fry them for about 1 to 2 minutes. Now that we've stir fried the garlic with the ginger, we will continue by adding the curry leaves. If you want, you can chop them, but this recipe actually calls for full curry leaves, so we'll just leave them full. And then we'll add the Ceylon cinnamon. You can crush that in half as well, but it will be harder to remove at the end of the dish, so I don't suggest you do. And then also add the cardamoms and the cloves, which you definitely have to crush because you want to capture all that flavor in the dish. If they're not crushed, the dish will not be as flavorful. So once we've added this, we'll stir fry for another 1 to 2 minutes. Next step is to add the onion and stir fry the onion. The onion will need to be stir-fried a little bit longer, for about 5 minutes or until golden brown. So we'll just stir-fry the onion. Now that the onion is sauteed, we can move on to adding the lamb. The lamb has been marinating for the past hours. We let it marinate for an hour. We like to make sure that we capture every flavor possible. So we added the lamb. We'll add the chilies as well, and the vinegar, and we will stir fry for about 5 minutes. Oh, this smells delicious. I can guarantee you will love this dish. Okay, so we've browned the meat for a little bit, for about 5 minutes, as I mentioned. And now we'll just add a cup of water and let it simmer, let it boil for the next 25 minutes. So now that we've simmered our meat for about 25 minutes, we are ready to add the coconut milk. We're gonna lower the heat first because remember, you don't want to overheat the coconut milk because you don't want it to lose the flavor. And we will also add salt to taste. As usually, we're using sea salt. And we'll mix everything together and we'll let it simmer for another 5 to 7 minutes on very low heat. Our curry is a little soupy. What we did is we washed the meat and at the same time we've added a little bit too much water in the dish. What you can do is either not wash the meat and then add the water, or if you decide that you want to wash the meat, that's fine, but just make sure that you add less or not any water at all. The recipe can be soupy if you want it, especially if you serve it with rice. That would work great, and you know that gives you a little bit of extra gravy. But originally you want the recipe to be a little drier than it is right now. If that happens to you, however, what you can do is just simmer it for a little bit longer, and that way the water will evaporate and it will, you know, it will have a thicker consistency. Our curry lamb is finally done, and we're ready to serve dinner. So we'll go ahead and pour it in a white bowl. I can tell you it smells delicious, and I'm sure it tastes delicious. So you're all invited to join us for dinner if you'd like. So here we are, our curry lamb. And we will garnish it with some green onions. And we are ready to serve dinner. My name is Daniela. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of For the Love of Cinnamon. Bon appetit, and I'll see you next time.